Hi, everyone. Hi, Sandy.
Hello, everybody. Welcome, and thank you for coming to our Web3 space. How are you, Janine?
I am very well. Thank you. How are you today, Sandy?
I am doing great.
Awesome. Thank you for having
Yeah,
me.
you're welcome. We'll give it just a couple of minutes and we'll let the room kind of fill up. But as we're doing that, where are you located today?
I am based in Montreal, Canada.
Montreal. So it's what, 6 o'clock for you? Almost 6 o'clock.
Yes, it's almost 6 o'clock. That's right.
Okay.
How about you? Where are you
I'm in the
based?
West Coast, so I'm only almost 3 o'clock. And then we have, is
Oh,
that Gigi?
hi.
Hi,
Hey, Gigi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Sandy?
I'm good. Long time no talk.
I know, I'm so excited to be here, and I'll also see you in San Diego very soon, so I'm hyped.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. Well, why don't we go ahead and get going? Let me just do a quick intro. My name is Sandy Carter, and I am not only leading our partnering and marketing efforts at Unstoppable, but I also have the pleasure of founding our Women of Web3. Um, and Women of Web3 is really dedicated to the mission of educating and training women and diverse groups in Web3. And this is part of our education series where we go through with great experts like Gigi and Janine on different topics so that you guys can learn even more about the space. So we're thrilled that you guys came today. We're thrilled that everybody is kind of supportive of our efforts here. Just so you know, only about 8% of the Web3 metaverse space are women today, and we got to do better than that because it really does matter. Having diverse perspectives adds a lot of innovation into the space, and that's will be part of what we chat about today. Our subject is being brave, haha, being brave in our Web3 space and lessons that we learned from Brave and CTW. So,
heck yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
I love it.
Okay, good. Awesome. So, why don't we start out? I know both of you guys and what you guys do, but why don't, Janine, we're going to start with you if we could. Tell us a little bit about you and how you got into Web3.
Sure, yeah. So, hi everyone. My name is Jenny. I'm really excited to be here. This is actually my first panel ever, so go easy on me, but I'm really excited and really grateful to have been invited to participate. I am Director of Community and Partnerships at Brave. And yeah, I just want to say thank you before I start, Sandy, for inviting me. Like I said, super grateful. So, my background is largely non-technical, actually. I studied philosophy and English literature while in university. And the way I got into crypto and Web3, and then subsequently Brave, is kind of a funny story. Um, so there was a distinct moment that set me on the path. It was 2017, and I was at a family Easter luncheon. And actually, my very dear friend and brave colleague, Chris, was there with me too. His family lives very far away, and so we always invite him to our holiday family gatherings. So, anyway, Chris and I were relegated to the kiddie table at this along with an uncle of mine who, by the way, is also a fully grown adult. And this uncle also happens to be kind of less than conventional. He's he's a citizen of the Free Republic of Liberland. He doesn't have a passport. And at the time, he was also mining Bitcoin, which he was very passionate about. And so he spent the duration of the lunch um, extolling the virtues of cryptocurrency and specifically Bitcoin, you know, like its decentralized nature and how that essentially protects the network from censorship and how you could send and receive money from anywhere in the world at any time without having to rely on a bank, and how all of this was accomplished with a degree of anonymity. So that was enough to catch my interest. And at the time, I had just graduated and was working in a totally unrelated field, unrelated to my major even. And I had this tiny office with no windows, and I was bored out of my mind. So during my free time, I started researching and trying to learn more about this Bitcoin thing. which eventually led me to learn about blockchain more broadly and about cryptography a little bit too. And this was before there were all these great resources available to learn about this stuff, like online courses and Twitter Spaces and even blogs. All of those things really came later. They were really few and far between. But there was this one YouTuber. I don't even know if he's still making videos, but his name is the King of Do, and he was making videos about Bitcoin. And then in May of 2017, and I distinctly remember this because it was right before Brave created the basic attention token, the King of Do released a series about Brave and its upcoming utility token, BAT. He did a whole comprehensive overview. And, for me, the whole concept was easy to appreciate. It was revolutionary in a way. And especially when he mentioned that the inventor of JavaScript and co-founder of Mozilla, Firefox, conceived the project. Actually, both the co-founders of Brave came from Mozilla Firefox. And, JavaScript and Mozilla, these are two important and successful contributions to the web and also the world. So naturally, I started digging into Brave and Bat. And at the time, and I sometimes still can't believe this, they had a public Bat Slack, which is like just so funny to me now. It just goes to show you the size of the community at the time. Like we could never do that now. We have almost 60 million monthly active users on the browser, and tens of thousands of token holders and community members. It just wouldn't fly. But anyway, at that time, I joined the community, and I spent a lot of time and energy there. Like I said, I was bored out of my mind in an office with no windows, and eventually they were looking for community managers, and I was offered the position. And in January
Wow.
2018, I came on as a full-time employee, eventually became director of community and partnerships, and now I have a whole team composed of people who are just as passionate as me and who also came through the community, which is just amazing. And I've loved every moment so far.
Very cool. What an interesting story. I really love that. And you go by Jenny, not Janine. Is that right?
Yeah, Jennie, kind of just like a
Okay.
nickname for Jennifer.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Well, that's a great story, Gigi. I know I've heard your story, but it's a great one. So why don't you share your Web3 story and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Definitely. And Jenny, I loved your story so much as well. So definitely looking forward to learning more about you during the space. Well, for myself, hello to everyone who's here. For anyone that have not met me, my name is Gianina. I go by Gigi for short. I'm from Venezuela. And a little bit about my background before I enter Web3 is I I still am. I still consider myself one, but I was a software engineer at a Silicon Valley company, and we were building AI services for companies that do support. And yeah, that was kind of like my dream. I love building things, so definitely that's something that just comes really natural to me. And as I was hired as a founding front end engineer, I really got a lot of experience building out my team, building out processes, building out the pipeline, and how interviews were happening for to grow the company. So I definitely got to learn a lot as we when I joined, I was about the 10th employee with the founders. And now we're over, or when I left, we were over 300. So definitely we grew a lot during the time there. And one of my biggest learnings while I was there was, for me, I don't have a computer science degree. I actually went through an accelerator and I ended up getting this amazing job. And it just showed that anyone, even without a degree, as long as you're following the steps needed, you could get the future you wanted. So I became instantly very inspired by my own story to start sharing it online. And I actually started building my own brand as GG Codes, where I would talk about tech and the importance of having minorities in tech, even without a degree. Just because in reality, as long as I was building the pipeline, it wasn't about if you had a degree or not. It was about if you could do the job or not. So I started building my brand online, and I started speaking at universities about, being a woman in tech, how it's like to to software engineering. And last year, so I've been doing that for the past 3 years. And then last year I found Web3 and I started hearing a lot about it from Gary Vee. And keep in mind, while this is all happening, I'm just building out products for my company. And I thought it was really cool to hear about NFTs, but the use case that was presented was mainly social. So it's more of a way to show what you own. And I thought, this is a very interesting social concept of ownership. Moving forward, I talked to a friend about it. He talked to me, whatever, he got into Web3. And then he comes back to me a few months later and says, hey, I need you to learn Solidity because I'm trying to build a play to earn game. I'm not a software engineer, so I want to see who takes longer to build it. And the way that we are, it was more of a challenge. Like, let's see who takes longer. And I'm very competitive. So that was all that was needed for me to get started. And as I got started, which by the way, for anyone here who's interested, is cryptozombies.io. As I got started, I my concept and my views of NFTs completely changed. It's no longer a non-fungible token, a way to prove ownership, more in like social benefit. It was a contract, it was code, it was something that could be used in so many other ways beyond just showing ownership of like art, right? Because I think that was like the main use case that was presented for it last year. And I became in love with the code. I became in love with the technology, and I started to join Web3. So my first step was learning how to write a contract. Second step, as we're all here, was joining crypto Twitter, which I didn't even have a Twitter, so that was a big step, let me tell you that. And after joining the Twitter space, I noticed that one, something that's very evident, there weren't many women in Web3. And two, there were a lot of thought leaders educating women, but I think there was a lack of spaces that concentrated on education and empowerment. And that's actually how I started building Crypto Tech Women. I wanted to create a place where women and anyone, but I definitely wanted to focus on women and non-binary, to be a place where they felt welcome, where they felt seen, for a place that we can give you empowerment and also empower you with education. And that's a little bit about my Web3 story.
Very cool. And Gigi, you're doing so amazing. I have to say, I never would have known you were not in on the technical side and had just gone through an accelerator, which accelerators are great, by the way, and boot camps and all of those things. We have some great leaders who have been trained that way for sure. Okay, so Jenny, I'm going to go to you next. So, I know there's not too many people who don't know what Brave is, but there still are a few. I'd love to know, what is Brave and what do you guys do?
Yeah, that's a great question, Sandy. Thank you. First of all, that was an incredible story, Gigi. I loved it. How you actually went ahead and learned Solidity when you joined the space and all that. That's just incredible. Um, so yeah, so Brave, are you guys ready? There's a lot. So Brave is about giving users back control of their data and their experience on the web. One of Brave's taglines is, "You are not a product." And I'll get into what that means in a moment. But first and foremost, Brave is a private by design browser that blocks invasive third party ads and trackers. And this includes YouTube ads. It rewards users for their attention in crypto tokens and gives back to digital publishers and creators to ensure that they can live on and continue to produce the great content that we all love to consume. The browser also blocks third-party cookies, fingerprinting, bounce tracking, and some malware and phishing attempts, all by default, which results in a much faster and much less cluttered browsing experience for the user. And on mobile, in particular, it also results in battery life and data cost savings, which is very key. But of course, like Brave doesn't just block all of that creepy stuff and call it a day. It actually flips the existing advertising paradigm on its head and creates a more fair system for each of the three main players on the web. And Brave perceives those to be 1, users, 2, publishers and content creators, and 3, advertisers. So I'll paint you a quick picture. In the traditional model, as you innocently browse the web, your personal data is being extracted, stolen without your consent from these trackers built into web pages. And then it's used to build profiles on you by all these random companies that you don't even know exist. They know your name, where you live, your interests, who you're dating, what you ate for breakfast, like the works. And then these profiles containing your data are auctioned off to the highest bidder, ad agencies, who then use that information to target you with intrusive ads. So, like I mentioned, Brave gets rid of all of that. But we can't do away with advertising completely, right? Because it paves the way for quality content on the web. We don't want to defund publishers and creators, right? So, what Brave has done instead is create a totally opt in system for users where they can view privacy respecting ads from our advertising partners. And then, in exchange for giving up some of their attention to see these ads, they earn the lion's share of the ad revenue for each ad they see in basic attention tokens or BAT. And then they can use those tokens however they choose. You know, they can hold, they can withdraw, transact, even decide to redistribute some tokens to creators via a Patreon style contribution system built right into the browser. And so earlier I mentioned the tagline, "You are not a product," right? Well, as we saw in the traditional picture, you really are the product. You're the fool. Like, you're being bamboozled out of the right to own your data. But with Brave, it's the opposite. You control your data, you own your browsing experience, and not only that, but you get paid for participating in this new and improved model for the web. And I'm not even done. On top of all of that, Brave has become a kind of super app. It ships with a private search engine called Brave Search, which uses its own index, and also Brave Wallet, which is a user-friendly, native, multi-chain crypto wallet that doesn't require a browser extension like other hot wallets, like think MetaMask, Phantom, etc. In addition, the wallet comes preloaded with support for multiple crypto networks and currently offers dApp support also for Ethereum and EVM compatible ecosystems, and as of recently, Solana as well.
Nice. I love that. You know, Jenny, I was telling a story the other day of where I was chatting about something with my husband in the car. And then all of a sudden, when I got home, all these ads popped up. And, you know, people laugh about that, right? But then a friend of mine, his son is very sick. And when he came home with a diagnosis, he immediately went to Google it. And when he did, he started getting ads and medicines and healthcare providers coming after him, which was not as funny, right? Because now you're talking about something that really should be private. So I love the way you talked about what Brave is ensuring and how if you want to share the data, you can choose to share the data, but it's not stolen from you, if you would. I love that. So thanks for sharing that. Gigi, talk to us a little bit about Crypto Tech Women. You mentioned some of it and why you started it in your intro, but give us a little bit more about Crypto Tech. And I am actually a Crypto Tech woman. I do have the NFT. Anybody else out there? Give us a heart. Yep, I got a couple others out there. So um, tell us about it.
Definitely. And Jenny, I love what you say, and I think it ties so well to the concept of ownership and decentralization. So I've been using Brave myself, and actually I had someone else who was like, "Why are you using any other browser?" Brave, kind of gives you that option of what you want to share. So I've been actually using it myself. And then going about Crypto Tech Women. So yes, I did share a little bit about it. So I started building Crypto Tech Women over a year ago, which is crazy to think. At the time, I was full time on my other job, and it feels like you're full time on both. I'm sure anyone here working in Web3 can relate to that. You work before your job starts, you work before after it's done. And we minted on February 26th. We were able to sell out within the 24 hours of our public sale, which was crazy to think, because there was so much turmoil in the world at the time, with the war just starting that the day before. So that was a pretty crazy and nerve-wracking week for me. And our mission is to empower, educate, and help a lot of females, non-binary, and most importantly, everyone join the Web3 space in a safe manner. To do this, we do focus on our utility. And with our utility, you're able to access We Learn Academy, which is a platform created by us crypto tech women and actually coded by myself, where we partner with thought leaders in the space, also with brands that want to share our mission with us and help onboard more people. I know there's some alpha going. I don't know when I can share it, but we do have some really fun courses in there. The platform is free for all of the crypto tech women holders, and we have some really awesome classes coming up as well. So definitely take a look on We Learn Academy. And beyond from the educational platform, we also do in real life meetups. You will see us in our Basel if you're there. And we are trying to focus on each and every pillar that we have, which is empowerment, education, innovation, fun partnerships, and fun experiences. So there's a lot to go in there, but if you're looking for a safe space where you can come learn with us and also share, if you are maybe not a newbie, come to Crypto Tech Women. We'd love to have you.
Very cool. And what's your favorite crypto tech woman? Do you have one, Gigi?
Oh my God, I have too many. I have too many. I sometimes go, someone shared one on the chat recently, and it was so pretty. So with Crypto Tech Women, one of the things I do want to highlight is that I handpicked, I'm not the artist, I hired an agency, but I did handpick every single trait myself. And you can see with them how fun they are, even though they're women that are portrayed as women who work on their computer, whether that is in crypto or marketing, you're a remote worker. They're very fashionable. So some of them are all suited up, and I love the pink suit. And then you also have some that are just fun. They have their crop tops. I think for myself, I identify with each and every one because I have different moods. So sometimes I do want to wear a suit, but other times I want to wear something cuter and like maybe something more for like the hot weather. But I think the pink suit is probably, there's like a pink suit, and then there's also one that has a pink dress and like a gray blazer, and I think those two are my top like outfits that I love.
Awesome. I think I have like three or maybe four now, I think as well. So that's awesome. And of course, I always pick the pink. So there you go. We both have the same favorite there. Um, so then when we start talking about the Brave browser, Jenny, I think you did a really nice job talking to me about the difference between a traditional browser and a Brave browser. But is there anything else you'd like to add in terms of the differences between the two?
Yes, definitely. So first, I just wanted to add, I love pink too, and I just want to circle back to something you said earlier, where Sandy, you mentioned that, you mentioned about your friend being targeted with ads pertaining to his son's medical condition. I think that's a really powerful example, because a lot of times people will argue and they'll say, well, I don't really care if big tech is tracking me because I don't really have anything to hide. But, sensitive health information, that's deeply personal. And I think it's your right to be able to protect it. So that's a super powerful example, and I thank you for giving it. Um, but yeah, going back to your question, like I mentioned earlier, unlike other browsers, Brave is private by design. So that means there's no user data collection or tracking whatsoever, not even by Brave software itself. And unlike other browsers, it also comes, you can think of it like it comes souped up right out of the box, kind of like a car that would come souped up right off the lot, and you don't have to make all these fancy mods to it. So, for example, you don't need to install an ad blocking extension because Brave does that by default. Do you search the web? Surely, right? There's a private search engine built right in called Brave Search, and it uses its own index. Do you read the news? Great, because Brave has a private news reader built right into it. Do you use a video conferencing tool like Zoom for your meetings? Fabulous, we have one. And it's private, baked right in. Do you browse the web on mobile? Great, because Brave on mobile has a built-in firewall and VPN, saving you an installation. Do you want, easy access to the decentralized web? Great, go ahead. You can do that without an extension because Brave believes that Web3 is for everyone. Do you, want to send and receive crypto to human readable addresses? You can. Do you want to get rewarded for your attention? Most importantly, fantastic. You've come to the right place, right? And, Brave also ships, in addition to all of that, the browser also ships with several specialized privacy and security features and integrations, including HTTPS upgrades for every possible connection, private windows with Tor, IPFS support, of course, support for unstoppable domains, and the list goes on, really. I would be remiss not to emphasize that Brave is currently the only browser that allows you to navigate to any decentralized, unstoppable domain without needing to install an extension. So, yeah, basically, Brave has all of your web needs covered in one app, a super app, if you will. And that's really what sets it apart from other browsers.
Yeah, I think that's so powerful. And talk to me a little bit about the search engine, Jenny. That's probably one of the biggest reasons why people say they still need an old .com. Do you believe that they still need an old .com for search, or do you believe that you guys now have a really powerful search engine?
I think that our search engine is very powerful. It's still a work in progress. It just came out of beta not very long ago, but
Mm.
really cool about it is that it uses its very own index, and it also has some really cool features, like goggles. You can go to brave.com/blog and find more information on this if you want to learn more. But essentially, the goggles are like filters that you can apply to your searches that will give you um, a tailored search. So let's say you search something and you want only left-leaning perspectives on that topic. You can apply goggles, which will spotlight all the articles that have like a left-leaning perspective, and you can do the same thing for right-leaning perspectives. Or let's say you search a term that has it has a different meaning in the world of tech than it does in the regular world. You can apply a tech goggle so that your search engine will filter all the results and give you, the tech related articles. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, you can definitely learn more about all of the wonderful things that Brave Search has to offer on our blog, which I'll talk more about later. And you can also, even if you aren't using Brave right now, you can go to search.brave.com and test out our search engine anytime.
That's awesome. Yeah, I had a discussion about search with your co-founder too. So I'm really excited to really fully use what you guys have to offer. So thank you, Jenny. So Gigi, I know that you have built a decentralized website. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so actually I recently built the website, and it was a whole experience actually. So I will go in depth into that. So first of all, I think most of us know, or maybe you've heard, you can build a website with your .com or your traditional domain, right? And the way that you usually do it is you buy a domain, and then you either pay for a hosting service, unless you're an engineer and know how to get through it for free. But usually you also have to pay a hosting service to then upload your website. And now you have two payments that you're doing. And for the website, there's different ways to build them. You can pay someone like Webflow, right, to host a website. That could be like $15-20 a month, and for you to build it. But then if you ever want to remove your Webflow website, now you have to pay another fee to export the code. And then that also means you probably need to know how to work the code. And so that's, I think, like the traditional experience that I see a lot of people go into that may not know much about like how to build websites themselves. And recently I got, through Unstoppable Domain, the opportunity to build my own website with my Unstoppable Domain domain, Gianina Skarlett at crypto. And it was a really fun experience. So I had not built a decentralized website before. but I can say it was extremely easy. So for the domain, what I do like is that you're able to sign up with your email, which I think is really powerful, to remove this skepticism about wallets and crypto, right? Like you're making it so easy for anyone to onboard. And then the dashboard was really easy to use, which I actually enjoyed. I feel like a lot of crypto products are usually really hard for people to understand what are the next steps. And I love how easy it was. And then I actually took a look at Pastly.dev, which I know you guys are partnered with. And it's also a no code website builder where you can just click and drag things. And they also have templates. I, on the other hand, I'm a little bit more, I wanted to show who I am. So I went ahead and kind of combined a lot of templates and took out the code and built my own site. But it was actually really easy. I would say for anyone there out there that does not know how to code and you want to do something that looks really good with low effort, definitely check out Pastly.dev as their templates, and you just have to kind of add your photos to whatever you're doing and update the text. And the process to uploading to Unstoppable Domains was also amazing. One, because if you do it through Pastly, they do show you the steps, which are super easy. And two, I really appreciate that Unstoppable Domains, you guys cover all the gas fees. And as someone who has spent a lot of money with my ENS domain, I'm so grateful that I got to do all of that literally like one time fee and then you're done. So I think you guys are revolutionizing how domains work.
So tell us what is that amazing website that you did?
Okay. So I did two. Actually, I did one. I did the Crypto Tech Women. It's an exported one from our real one. And then the one I did for myself, it's my personal. I did took a fun spin to it. I added previous podcasts that I've been on. I actually added some of my favorite crypto tech women, so you can definitely see them there. A little bit about me and Sandy. I don't know if you've seen it, but you're actually featured.
I know. Yay.
Yes, I added some special moments of this year in Web3 and added a few photos. So it was so fun to make. And I also want to say shout out to Brave because I honestly did not really know that I couldn't use Google to look at the website. So I kept trying. And then I finally understood. I'm like, okay, so I get it. Only Brave has the ability to search for my website. So I'm so grateful for that experience. So like now instead of having to go through Unstoppable Domains, if you do have Brave, you can just search for your UD domain on your website browser on Brave and just see it pop up. And I can't wait to see more browsers adopt this because that will really change how things are done.
Yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure. I love that story, and I loved it. I loved it too because you started out saying you don't have a deep tech background, and you kept using the word easy. I counted that you used the word easy 11 times, Gigi, which is pretty amazing, right?
Yeah, no, I feel like it's so funny. Sometimes I think about it when I'm talking technical, and then I have to remind myself, like, hey, like, not because it's easy for you, it's easy for everyone. But in this case, because it was really a no code flow, it is really amazing that anyone can join without having to understand engineering or be an engineer, which actually makes it really good to onboard new people, not only into Web3, but into definitely into Web3 and using decentralized apps.
I think that's a really good point for anybody listening. You don't have to be like the master coder to do a lot of the things we're talking about. You can set up your own decentralized website. You can use your domain to buy a crypto tech woman. So you don't have to have the depth of technology that I know a lot of people ask me about all the time. Like, how do I get this, really detailed background? Um, so let's just finish because I know we've been using a lot of words, Jenny, and somebody just DM'd me and they said, okay, you keep talking about a decentralized website. First of all, can you tell me what decentralized means? And then I would love for you to then jump in and say why it's so important that people have an option to do a decentralized website.
Yeah, absolutely. I also just wanted to quickly say that while you guys were chatting, I spotted some Bat community members in the audience. So, hi, guys. So nice to have you here.
Awesome. I love that. So
Yeah,
if you guys can, let's give some hearts. Let me see all those Bat community members. Are they out there?
they're out there.
Yeah,
And
I see many of them doing the heart for you. So awesome.
thank you. And
Awesome.
also, Sandy and Gigi, you both are great spokespeople for Brave. So, thank you so much. But but going back to your question, yeah, I think decentralizing the web means you know, creating a web that is more transparent, resilient, and of course, censorship resistant as well. Because, when you're sharing content, right, like your opinions, your views, etc., on a centralized platform, think of all of those social media platforms we use today. You're at their mercy, like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, they could ban you if they disagree with your views, right? And there really isn't much you can do about it. In addition, our co-founder and CTO, Brian Bondi, he made a really nice point last week during his spaces with UD, which was, it was a comment about the decentralized web. And it was that, there's content that exists out there on this new plane, and that plane being the decentralized web, of course. And you don't want to be left out from being able to access it. And by the way, with other browsers, you can't really easily access it, like Gigi said when she was using Chrome. Um, Not unless you have the right browser extension. So with Brave, though, right out of the box, you get to gain access to the D-Web and the whole world of content that exists there, which is amazing, right? And then finally, I think that with the decentralized web, it's also much harder to make content disappear. Um, in the traditional landscape, for instance, let's say your domain registrar's servers are hijacked or phished or denied service, you could lose your website. Think about that. Like in some cases, people's websites are their businesses, their livelihoods. So if your website is decentralized and the content is replicated across dozens, if not hundreds of machines, then you have backups if something goes awry. And that's crucial. That's why I think the decentralized web is so important.
And decentralization, just very simply, I think Jenny did a beautiful job on it, but very simply means that everything's not stored in a centralized server on a centralized network. So not one person has access to that. That's why all the power that Jenny is talking about exists in the decentralized world. It is because not one person has power or not one company has power. And so I think that that's probably, for me, the most important piece. Gigi, what do you think? Why do you think it's important to give people an option for a decentralized web?
100%. And I think it goes, beyond a decentralized web. But I know like we might touch on that a little bit later. But yeah, I think it's so like the concept of ownership. It's one of the things that I'm super excited about in Web3. And while I think we're still in some places in Web 2.5, knowing that you own not only your data, but whatever it is that you do, I think it's one of the most powerful things because as Jenny mentioned, beyond from like social media censorship, your website can be censored too, right? It can also be taken down. You don't own it. You don't own your domain. Once you buy it, you have to continue to renew it. And then maybe someone takes it from you. So I do think ownership is one of the things that makes kind of like Web3 so special and why it will be here to stay as it is.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, if you really talk about the difference between Web 2 and Web 3, the big difference is ownership. Like who owns that data? Who owns that digital identity? Who owns that? For me, that's really the most important thing that you can talk about. But in addition, it's just really cool too. So, Jenny, I would love to ask you, what are some really cool ways that you're seeing people use the decentralized website? Is it all business, or like Gigi said, she did her personal website? Are you seeing some really cool personal use cases as well?
Yes, so it's certainly not all business. I've seen people use their decentralized websites as a home for their podcasts. I'm thinking of Anthony Pompliano from the Pomp podcast. I think he has pomp.crypto, if I'm not mistaken. I've also seen decentralized blogs and NFT galleries. I actually think that Brad from UD has a really nice one at brad.crypto, um, if I recall correctly. Um, I've seen people build completely decentralized games that use IPFS. Um, and, in theory, anything that you can dream of doing with a centralized website, you can really do with a decentralized website too. And I've also seen businesses use decentralized websites to build DEXs and decentralized chat applications and decentralized video hosting and streaming platforms, and honestly, so much more. But with that being said, I hope to see even more applications for decentralized websites through the website building contest that Unstoppable
Woohoo!
Woohoo, that Apple is currently hosting with Brave. And I guess now is a good time to get into it, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, so the contest, I believe, is open to the general public, and we're giving
Oh,
away.
only in the US though. I just found that out myself. So only in the US right now. So just FYI.
Okay, yeah, think that's super important. Thank you for that. So yes, so you have to be in the U.S., but we're giving away a total of about $30,000 worth of prizes and for the best websites, and that
Whoa, what did you say? How much money?
about 30K.
30,000. 30,000. Yep, the value of domains.
Yeah,
$30,000. That's pretty cool.
it's really awesome. It's going to be split between BAT and Unstoppable Domains credits, which is really awesome. And, like Gigi and Sandy were saying, you don't need any coding experience to participate because fortunately, UD is partnered with Pathly, which Gigi spoke a little bit about, which supplies tools and templates that you can use to build your website without having to code, which is fabulous. And of course, if you want to learn more about the contest, we do have a page, and here's what you can do. First and foremost, you're going to want to download the Brave browser. So go to brave.com/download, and then you can visit changetheweb.x for contest details and more details about the partnership more broadly. And this is a decentralized website, so you need Brave to access it. And there, yeah, like I said, you can find all of the contest details. And I also wanted to mention that within the BAT community, we have about 25 BAT ambassador volunteers who are going to be participating in the contest. So I'm really excited to see what kinds of applications they come up with for their decentralized sites. And I think Brave and Unstoppable have also invited some influencers and thought leaders to participate too. So there's a lot to look forward to.
Okay, so let's just go through that again. So if I want to win, and I'm competitive too, I think Gigi's probably already writing this information down. Um, I want to win the domain credits. I go and I download the browse browser, and then where do I go again? Can you just give me that website?
Yes, it's changetheweb.x. And there's a tab on that decentralized website where all the contest details are listed. And I think Unstoppable and also Brave and the Bat community have tweeted about the contest as well. So if you follow our social medias, you can find the link to, I think there is, a copy of the contest details on one of our centralized sites as well. So anyone can access those details. So just be sure to follow us and you won't miss it.
Yeah, so I put it up here. So you go to the Brave browser and then you go to changetheweb.x. You must do that from the Brave browser though. So if you try to use Chrome, it's not going to work. And then real quickly, Jenny, I did have someone DM me, and thank you for DMing me. If we ever say anything that you don't know what it is, please just DM me and I will make sure that we explain it. So you said IPFS, and somebody DM'd and said, what is IPFS?
Yeah.
Jenny?
Yes, sorry about that. So IPFS stands for Interplanetary File System, and it's a protocol, like a hypermedia and file sharing, peer-to-peer network for storing and sharing data in basically a distributed way. And in Brave, it actually allows you to, there are some technicals for how this works, but you can pin content to an IPFS node and then have it accessible even offline, which is really spectacular.
Very, very nicely done. Thank you for that. Okay, so Gigi, I'm interested. We just heard like a lot of different really cool things, but outside of browsing the web, what are some other maybe centralized Web 2 use cases that you would like to see more decentralized in Web 3?
Definitely. And also, before we continue on this question, I want to say I'm really excited about that contest. I shared here some ways that you can build a decentralized website very easily. So if you just joined, make sure to replay this Twitter space. And actually, we're also giving away, I think, a crypto tech woman with the prize. And yeah, we're looking forward to sharing more about it with our community and seeing all of your beautiful websites out there. So keep an eye out for that. But going back to your question, Sandy, one of actually the best use case I can think of is Twitter. Twitter. I would love
Mm.
to own my own social. And this comes from actually Twitter Spaces, which we're on right now. So, one thing that we noticed with Twitter Spaces is that they actually expire, I think, every 3 months, or maybe it's less now. I know back then it was 3 months. And at the time, we were looking to move our Twitter Spaces into a podcast. And when we started going back and trying to find our initial spaces, they were expired. So the only way that you could get them, if it's, it's under the time of expiration, you have to download your data. You have to know how the Twitter Spaces data looks like, right? Because now you're downloading it. Now it's code. And it's a long, lengthy process for you to be able to export your Twitter Spaces outside of Twitter. So yeah, when you said that, that was the first thing that came to my mind. I would love to own my social presence, my tweets, my Twitter Spaces, my photos here. Because if you are ever blocked from, any social media, so I had this experience on Facebook. Someone was able to delete my Facebook, and I have photos there from, from my well, I mean, it was like 2012, but I had photos there that I didn't have anywhere else. And as soon as Facebook deleted my account, I lost all of my photos. So I think the one thing I would love to see is ownership of our social profiles.
That would be awesome. I don't know if you guys know, but NPEAK is a education facility for women of Web3, and they got blocked on Twitter. And Somi, who is the CEO and founder, she called me in tears because they were going to host this major Twitter space with a Web3 celebrity, and they couldn't do it because they were blocked, and she had no idea why. She sent a note to them and they finally unblocked it after a week, but she still to this day doesn't know why. So I love that example. I think that's a really great one. Jenny, how about you? Do you have a wish list of something that could be decentralized that isn't today?
Yeah, I think decentralizing aspects of medicine and patient care is interesting. So, for example, where I'm from, there is a shortage of primary care physicians. Because we have free healthcare, many doctors flee the province for better pay elsewhere. And as a result, instead of visiting, just one doctor at one clinic that holds all of my medical records, I'm usually forced to go to walk-in clinics, usually numerous over several years, and sometimes in different countries too, because I travel a lot. And each of these physicians has a file on me with an incomplete medical history, because naturally, none of them actually communicate with each other, right? And if some chance, by some chance they do, then it's usually over fax or something. And I mean, like, come on. And this often leads to, the same discussions with multiple physicians and the same medical history questionnaires over and over again. And it wastes a ton of time and already scarce medical resources. And in the worst of cases, and luckily this hasn't happened to me, but it can also result in misdiagnoses. Um, Conversely, if we stored patient medical records on the blockchain, then not only would all of those doctors have access to my complete medical history, but so would I. And like, have you ever tried chasing down a clinic or lab for records from several years ago? Yeah, like the experience is not straightforward and it's not fun. So that's one field I would be glad to see become more decentralized. And I think we're headed there. And then I was also recently reading an article about the possibilities around decentralized entertainment. So, for example, take fan fiction, which is already very trendy. Imagine that community contributors could help expand the Harry Potter universe, for example. Like working from a central IP, fans could then develop their own storylines and own them in the form of NFTs and then license them to Warner Brothers or something like that. That would be so cool.
I like those too. One of my favorite things about NFT NYC is I got to meet the Emmy award-winning artist Ashante. She had her own album, and she was telling me how she's had this. I'm sorry, not Emmy, Grammy. She's had this Grammy album for 20 years, and the contract she signed basically took her rights away for 20 years. And so I'm really excited now that she's going to be able to decentralize that ownership of her own music, which is pretty interesting, and be able to sell her songs as NFTs. So I love that focus on entertainment. And Gigi, I love the Twitter one too. Of course, I'm a big Twitterer, so I think that's great. Now, I know, when I kicked this group off, we talked about women of Web3 and the focus on education, because I do think for us going mainstream and for many of our dreams happening in the space to move from centralized to decentralized, we need more people who understand what Web3 is. So I'm going to start with you first, Gigi. So, what is Crypto Tech Women doing to address the challenge of education?
I love this question. So I think there's different aspects on the things that we're doing. I would say the public access, that is for anyone out there, even if you're not a Crypto Tech Women holder, is through our Twitter spaces. We've done since even before our launch, since we started on Twitter, we've done a big effort on having two types of Twitter spaces. One that is educational, and this one covers everything from Web 2 to Web 3. I think it was last month when we had a really awesome month of bridging your marketing Web 2 skills to Web 3. So, our goal is to not only talk about Web 3 skills, but also tell our members and our following how can you come into Web 3 with the skills that you have. And I also make a note that if you hate what you're doing in Web 2, don't do the same in Web 3. Try something new. And then in terms for our holders and our members, what we're doing is with We Learn Academy, where it's kind of a similar focus, except that with We Learn Academy, we're able to tackle education through master classes. And so far, we're doing, coming up, we're doing a boot camp on Reach, which is a coding language actually for decentralized building. We have one about wallets. So what are the crypto wallets? What are the ones that would be good for you? I know a lot of people know MetaMask, but why should you look into a cold wallet or a ledger? And kind of tackling that area. We also have one coming up on how to build an ERC20 token and do an airdrop. But beyond that, we are looking forward to bringing a lot of other skills into our platform. I know there's a lot of platforms that focus on developers. For us, because there are so many platforms that already focus on developers, we want to focus on being generalist. So there's a lot coming into We Learn Academy on how to bridge your Web 2 skills to Web 3, and also just learning all of the amazing skills that Web 3 has to offer.
Oops. If you look up at the top, let's see here. Oh, I pinned a lot too. There is the CTW.NFT, which is Crypto Tech Women. It's at the top. You can see that with the big news that you've announced, and you've got a nice thread in there too, right, Jenny?
Yeah, we did a nice thread on it. And yeah, so for anyone out there, we also do a lot of giveaways. We want to make sure that we're being very conscious on having a platform that is easy to onboard people in. So we do a lot of giveaways for Crypto Tech Women, as we want to give more access to people that may not be able to buy one. And also, if you are a Crypto Tech Women holder and then there's anything you want to see, let us know. We want to build with you, and for you, so keep us updated.
Thank you. And Jenny, your thread here too is pretty amazing, right? Gigi, sorry, Gigi. I keep saying Jenny. Jenny, Gigi. Gigi, I'm talking to Gigi.
Oh, the threat for We Learn.
Yeah, your thread for We Learn. Man, I'm tongue-tied today. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. You're good. Yes, everyone, check it out. Let's see. I'm gonna repin it up top. But yeah, it's basically
Okay.
talking about our launch. We're currently in beta, but really excited for all of the new features coming along.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. So Jenny, now I'm going to go to you. If I want to learn how to set up my own decentralized website, and let's say that Gigi, when she walked through, it was too fast for me, where could I go to learn how to do that?
Yeah, totally. And by the way, don't worry about the name mix-up. They sound so. You're doing amazing, Sandy. So yeah, for anyone who wants to set up their own decentralized website, it's the process is actually really deceptively straightforward. So really, all you have to do is visit unstoppabledomains.com, and then you search for a new domain, like whatever you want to name your domain. You can search it. If it's available, then you can purchase it, and you can do so for as little as $10. Domains are priced differently, but you can find some for as little as $10. And like Gigi said, there's a one-time fee. There's no additional fees after that. And then from there, you can use Unstoppable's tools and templates to assemble your website. You guys have tons of tutorials and guides you can access. Or like we said earlier, you can use the code-free website templates provided by Pasley.dev as well. And yeah, as I mentioned earlier, or we talked about earlier, UD and Brave are hosting the website building contest. Again, it's changetheweb.x if you want to find details. So now is a really good time to start building your decentralized website. Like, not only can you enter it for the contest if you're US based, but you can also win cool prizes, and you can get the chance to learn and build alongside the Brave and Unstoppable communities.
Awesome. That's great. Yeah, and if you haven't done it, I mean, it's a great way to learn too about Web3, decentralization. What does the new world look like? So don't be afraid, just get out there and go. And, I did one. I know Gigi did one. So if we can do it, you can do it too. So just jump in with that for sure.
Sandy, I was
Oh, go
wondering.
ahead.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was wondering if I also might be able to share some of the things that Brave is doing around Web3 education too.
Yes, 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 yes. Sorry. I think in my tongue tiedness, I forgot to ask you. Yes, please, Jenny, go ahead.
Oh no, it's all good, but it's really important. So
Yep.
yeah, so this is like the question, right? Is like, how do we bring the mainstream over to Web3, right? And of course, education is the way, but like, how do we reach this vast market? And I think the approach needs to be multi-pronged. And so for Brave, there are several ways that we're tackling this challenge. So first and foremost, I talked about it earlier, but there's our learning portal, our official Brave blog. You can find it at brave.com/blog. Easy. And there we publish all of our company news, updates about our products and features, policy and legislation updates, privacy updates, research and development, B2B news, Web3 related news. Really, there's a plethora of information there. And many of the blogs we publish, especially those revolving around new features, often include an educational tutorial video as well, with a clear step-by-step set of instructions on how to use that new feature, which is really key. And then our head of PR and communications, who I have to shout out, Catherine Corey, She's amazing. She also maintains excellent relationships with various media outlets and tech publications, and she does an outstanding job at getting them to pick up our stories and amplify them to wider audiences. In addition, we also do our best to have a presence at diverse events and conferences, and not just crypto and Web3 conferences, but also more traditional technology conferences. So Mobile World Congress is a really good example. And usually somebody from the Brave team, either our CEO or another representative, will make a point to speak at these events. In addition, and this is really cool, so there's also our Brave Ads platform, which we can leverage to drive people to our learning portal, our social media, our community hubs, etc. And not just our learning portal, but that of other important projects that are doing Web3 education too. Because remember, not all Brave users are into Web3. Some of them might just be using the browser for privacy and security, but we can still access those people, which is great. And then I also lead the BAT Ambassadors Program, which is a grassroots marketing initiative composed of volunteers from all around the world who go out into their local communities and host or attend meetups to educate and to grow adoption for Brave and Bat, and also for Web3 more broadly. So we're doing a lot, and I just wanted to shout it all out because it's important stuff.
I love that. And I'm a very passionate fan of education. I feel like we need more of it here. I know our NFT domain will also be part of the Web3 education on Brave too. So that's amazing. So I don't know if you guys know this, but we just breezed through that whole hour. I thought we had till 4, but we have till 3:45, which we've just gone past. So I had no idea. I was having so much fun here with you ladies for sure, and all of our listeners who I always love to have on. So let me end this with a last. I'll give each of you guys the ability to give me kind of the tweetable moment. If you had to summarize everything that you've been saying today in the Twitter space, what would that be? What would you want to leave people with? And Gigi, I'm going to go to you first. What's your tweetable moment from this Twitter space you want all these great listeners to remember?
Wow, I feel like I'm in the hot seat, but I kind of
You
like
are.
it. I did wanted to also throw out some alpha if I could. Before
Yeah.
I forget, and it's that we're actually also doing a masterclass with Unstoppable Domain, building a decentralized website. So if you don't get to do it now, make sure to stay with your eyes alerted, because we are coming out with this masterclass and you can build with us. And yeah, so that's going to be a whole thing. It's a little bit of alpha. We haven't said anything more about it. And yes, if there is a tweetable moment about this whole Twitter space, I would say is to look into the power of being the owner of your own data, not only your data, but owning your profile. So I think that's the most important part of what we've been talking about, is that with Unstoppable and Brave, you're able to own your data and own your user or persona identity online. That's something that we have not had the chance to do before. And it's something that we're being the chance of doing now. So if you can walk out of here and think about how important that is, that you're able to not only own your domain, you can own your online identity. That is something new, something that will really disrupt where we are now and where we're going.
Awesome. Very, very well said. Thank you, Gigi. Okay, Jenny, no pressure. Gigi did amazing. So
Yeah,
now you get the last one. You're now in the hot seat. What would you leave the audience with, your listeners here today?
yeah, Gigi, she killed it. She's gonna put me to shame, but I would just say, and to her point as well, you are not a product. Owning your data and your identity, your digital identity, is your right. And in addition, you can own your browsing experience. That too is your right, and you can get rewarded for your attention with Brave. So download Brave, and also website building content. Even if you're not in the US, you can still join for fun like I am. I'm not eligible for any of the prizes, and neither are a lot of the people in our community because they're international, but we're still all participating. We're building decentralized websites together because, you want to be a leader. You want to be at the fore of these things. You don't want to be left behind or a follower. So yeah, enter our contest and download Brave.
Awesome. I think that was a little bit more than a tweet, Jenny, but we got it. It's really good. It was really good. You ladies, this was a very fun Twitter space. Thank you all for the listeners in the audience. Thank you guys. Thanks for all the UD whales out there and the BAT community members and our crypto tech women fans and everybody else that's just learning this space. Thank you. Hopefully we've created a nice and open space where everybody can learn and ask whatever question you want. We do these Women of Web3 Twitter spaces once a week, so please come back. Check out our website. We'll have some more education news too. Check out Gigi's new announcement as well that's posted at the top. And as well, build that Brave website, that Brave-based website that Jenny talked about with Change the Web.x. Thank you guys so much for attending today and staying a little bit longer with us. We love you guys. Have a beautiful rest of your week. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sandy. Thank you, Gigi. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all. Have an amazing day.
Thanks, you guys. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.